October 7, 1983, 2:14 a.m. Soviet Union, a classified early warning bunker buried 40 meters beneath the frozen earth. The world above was quiet, but inside the reinforced concrete walls of this facility, a single red light had just begun to blink. Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov was sitting at his post when the alarm went off. The Soviet early warning satellite network, codenamed OKO, had just detected an inbound ballistic missile launch from United States territory. Then a second, then a third. Within 60 seconds, the system registered 5 nuclear missiles screaming toward Soviet soil. Every chain of command told him to do one thing: report the launch and initiate the response sequence. But Petrov did not press the button. Human intuition told him the data was wrong. A genuine American first strike would not come as 5 missiles, it would come as 5,000. He marked the event as a system malfunction and sat in silence. He was right. Sunlight reflecting off clouds, misread by the satellite sensors. Stanislav Petrov, by doing nothing, had just prevented a nuclear war. But the men who built the Soviet nuclear apparatus had already decided that human beings could not be trusted with that kind of decision. And so, deep inside the classified architecture of the Soviet military machine, they had begun building something that would remove the human hand from the equation entirely. The West would eventually call it dead hand. The concept was born from a specific Soviet fear, not of American missiles, but of decapitation. Soviet strategists had spent years wargaming a scenario in which a sudden American first strike could eliminate the entire chain of command before a retaliatory order could be issued. The General Secretary dead, the Defense Minister dead. The Soviet Union would absorb a nuclear strike and be unable to fire back. Perimeter was the answer. Fully operational by 1984, it was an automated command and control network of extraordinary complexity. It watched, and it waited for a specific combination of signals that could only mean one thing: that nuclear war had begun, and Soviet leadership was no longer alive to respond. If those conditions were met, Perimeter did not need a general. It did not need a president. It did not need a human being at all. It would launch a specialized command missile, not a warhead, but a radio transmitter, high into the atmosphere. That missile would then broadcast a direct launch command to every Soviet ECBM still in its silo, every submarine still beneath the ocean, every bomber still on the runway, all of them simultaneously, without further authorization from any living person. The dead would have fired back from the grave. The Americans built their deterrent on the promise of human judgment. The Soviets built theirs on the promise of its absence. The system was not intended to fire the moment an attack was detected. A small team of duty officers could activate Perimeter, arm it, bring it to full readiness, but once activated, its logic ran on its own. If it detected nuclear detonations across Soviet territory, attempted to contact the command structure, received no response, no further human input was required or possible, the machine would act. This was not a failure of design, it was the design. But the Cold War ended, the Soviet Union collapsed, and Perimeter, dead hand, did not. In 1993, Russian officials quietly confirmed to their American counterparts that the system existed. The confirmation sent a chill through Western intelligence. Because of the question, was it still on? The answer, pieced together through arms control discussions, defector testimony, and careful reading of Russian military doctrine, appears to be yes. In 2018, Vladimir Putin unveiled Russia's next generation of strategic weapons before a Moscow audience: hypersonic glide vehicles, underwater drones. The presentation was theatrical, almost cinematic, but buried inside the accompanying doctrine was language Western analysts recognized immediately, language that could only refer to one thing: dead hand had not been switched off. It had been upgraded. Today, somewhere beneath Russian soil, a set of servers is processing data, seismic readings from monitoring stations across 11 time zones. 1,000 quiet variables weighed continuously against a threshold that, if crossed, triggers a sequence no human being can stop. The Cold War ended. But Dead Hand did not get the message.